Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel, Two Survivor Stories. And I am going to talk today about narcissism. And because I am going through a narcissistic divorce, I am divorcing a narcissistic personality disorder husband. And I want to tell you, this realization for me was almost like an hallelujah moment. Like, really, it totally helped in so many ways for me to leave. But in this video, because we're just starting out, I want to talk about neon flags, not red flags, because for me they were neon flags that I should have saw in not just this marriage, but in my previous relationships as well. And if you are interested in learning more about narcissism, I suggest you get It's Not You by Dr. Romney. She is phenomenal, and you can find her on YouTube, and you can find her on Instagram. This is Dr. Romney, and she has been so many survivors. I would call her basically like a saint. If you want to, I'm Catholic, so if you want to put it in those terms of someone who has done phenomenal work on this subject. And I probably watch 2 to 3 videos of hers a day. And my therapist told me about trying to watch something about narcissism with Dr. Romney, like at least once a day. And it didn't have to be a long video, but most of her videos are probably about 20 to 40 minutes long. But once you turn it on, and you're going to see there's so many things that are literally so like characteristic of what happened in my relationship. And if you are with a narcissist, you're going to find the same kind of type of characteristics that are just so common. Like, these are just blaring at us. And the problem in America, I believe, is that we want to constantly give everybody a chance, and we don't want to think it's us. And that's why I love the name of her book, It's Not You, because for so many years I was trying to be a better wife. I was trying to be a better partner. I was trying to be a better daughter, a better friend. But I was so caught in this abuse cycle that I didn't realize that I was traumatizing myself. And It's Not You is really a book about hope, because once you start talking through this in your head, and once you start reading and also watching her videos, you're going to be able to be like, wow, this was my life, and this is so many other people's life. It seems like it happens more to women because I guess we talk about it more, but men are also, and also people in their workplace could be having this type of relationship. Also, it could be someone who's a parent. And for me, my wake-up call was really my daughters, because I didn't want them to suffer anymore. It was fine. It's funny because as a mother, we want to just do whatever we can for our kids. But what I forgot to do was live for myself. And raising daughters, I realized that I was showing them that you don't have to think of yourself, because, hey, we're here to serve as mothers, but that is not the real world. At some point, you want your daughters to go off, live their life, and you want to have independence from them. You don't want them to be dependent on you. And if that does happen, that's a sign that you're being narcissistic. So for me, it was okay, wake up call. I don't want to become a narcissistic personality disorder because I've been married to one. I want to make sure my daughters are independent and find healthy relationships. So that was my wake up call. But what started this, what made this so horrible, when I started seeing these triggers, I could have walked away so many times. And from the beginning, I could have walked away. So I suggest you get also a journal. So that way you can, this is my master plan for 2024. And my master plan was to survive this divorce. That's my master plan. And one thing that Dr. Romney says is that you have to get through the rumination process of where you're thinking about it all the time. And how I like to do it is I like to do videos on my YouTube, on this YouTube channel, because I had another YouTube channel that I did other videos. And so with this YouTube channel, I want to just focus on my rumination, get it out. And also when I write my master plan, when I write my, things I'm trying to do, it could be in the calendar portion, and then in the back, I've got where I break it down like this, and then also a place to have notes. So this helps me because I want to write a book about my life as like a memoir, but also because if something happens to me and I don't get to do a video, I'm able to put it here and get back to it later and remember what I was thinking about. Because to do something every single day is difficult. But with Dr. Romney, what I loved about seeing her videos is that she has so many videos on YouTube where if you just put narcissism, she's going to pop up. If you put anything in regards to surviving narcissism, she's going to pop up. And she's been doing it for so long, but she started doing a video a day, I believe. And a lot of people do that to just get it out there. So let's talk a little bit about the neon flags. Like I said, they're not red flags. Red flags would have been, to me, harder for me to spot because I would have probably still found a reason to ignore it. These were neon flags, and I still was like, oh, it's me. I have to try harder. So these are things that most narcissistic people will do. So one of the things is that you first need to determine what is it that is attracting you. So that's the first part of the story I'm going to talk about, is what is your attraction. And you might want to write a list of things that, like when you're a little girl, you write a list of, this is what I want my husband to be, tall, dark, and handsome, intelligent, want him to, these are the things as a little girl. And as you get older, you start to think, okay, actually, I really want someone who is educated, because if they're educated, they can get a good, powerful job, and that can make sure they have money, because I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be struggling. And if they have money, then they'll have a house, they'll have a nice car. As far as physical type, I liked a muscular build. Now, why did I like a muscular build? Because I wanted someone to protect me. I wanted someone to be my protector. And I didn't want some wimpy little guy who couldn't do that. I wanted someone who knew how to fix things. I needed a manly man. I wanted someone who was going to be able to communicate, have good conversation about things politically and that kind of thing. So for me, those were my wants. So that should have been a neon flag for me right there, because you may think, oh, well, those are good things to want. But when you're looking at a partner for life, you should remember that certain things can come and go. For instance, making money. For instance, having a house, having a nice car, having a good job, having a muscular build. These are things that can come and go with age and with time and just with circumstances. So the truth is, all those things I listed were just crap. I mean, I thought I had a pretty good sense of what I was attracted to. No. Now looking back, what I should have been attracted to was someone who was fear of God, someone with the fear of God, someone who had a relationship with God, someone would read the Bible with me, someone who was Catholic, because I was Catholic, and I wanted someone who had the same desire to go to church with me, go to Mass with me. Those things were very important to me as I started to go through my healing journey, realizing that I never had that. I never had someone in church with me or pray with me or read the Bible with me. And that was very important. I also wanted someone who would care about my business. I'm an entrepreneur. I needed someone to be not just paying the bills, because paying the bills is what they're going to do in their life anyway. I mean, if they have to keep a roof over their head, they're going to pay the bills. But to actually invest in my business in a sense of like continuing, like maybe I'm going to work on the books for you. Maybe I'm going to help you with your business plan. Maybe I'm going to go on and get a loan with you. Or if we have money in the savings, invest in you. Like those are things that were important to me because I didn't want to work for anyone else. I really wanted to be my own boss. And another thing that I should have looked at is I should have looked at, when I have children, are they going to side with me with the children in discipline, which was a huge problem in my marriage. I needed someone who we could talk about things, work them out together, and decide, okay, so this is what we're going to do with the kids. This is what we're going to do. I have health issues. I have lupus. I have thyroid disorder. I've had even kidney cancer. And my partner did not involve himself in my doctor's visits. He didn't involve himself. He was proud of the fact that he would go to work, and pay for the medical bills. But sometimes I needed someone there with me when I was at MD Anderson or when I was going to have surgery for many different heart conditions I had. I had conditions with my thyroid. I had to get biopsies. I had conditions with my my lupus. So because I'm going to be having, this is not something that literally I can just say, okay, I just was sick for a couple of days. I had, the flu or something. No, I had a lot of illnesses. And when I got with someone, I thought, well, I can that's my problem. That's not his problem. But no, that is a part of being in a partnership, in a marriage. That is a part of what you need in your relationship. It says in the marriage vows, in sickness and in health. It doesn't say in health and paying the bills for the medical expenses. Another thing is, I remember when I had to be in my, I have a walker that is like a rolling walker that I'm in. And when I had to be in this, he made jokes about it with my daughters, laughing about how I was the geriatric person now because my ankles would swell so badly that I couldn't walk. And my joints would swell so badly that I literally couldn't walk. My knees, my hips. And, you could see it on an x-ray, but he would say I was trying to get attention. I had ventricular tachycardia episodes. I had atrial fibrillation. And I would go to the hospital, drive myself, knowing that I needed to have someone drive me. When I would go to MD Anderson, I would have my mother or my sister drive me because I didn't want to disturb them. So when you're looking at someone who you want to be involved with and you're looking at what is attractive, remember, sickness and in health means in sickness and in health. And with a narcissistic personality, you being sick is really pretty much irritating to them. Also, praying. It's difficult for them to pray because they pretty much think they're God. They pretty much believe that they know everything. My husband decided he was going to get a doctorate in psychology online, not because he wanted to go to therapy or he wanted to try to figure out ways we could work on our marriage, but because he wanted to be called doctor. He wanted to be called doctor, and it wouldn't help him, his income or anything. It was not about helping people. It was about him feeling more powerful. And there was a time where I thought someone with a good, powerful job, make good money or whatever was what I wanted. But I realized that wasn't as important as someone who had empathy and compassion and could listen to me, spend time with me, invest in me, and really be a part of my life. So that attraction thing is a neon flag for you. You need to really, really think about what you are attracted to. Then also, another thing that a lot of narcissists do is cheating. My husband's sister told me he was a cheater in front of my children and in front of, like she yelled it at me. He's a cheater, I heard it from girls he was cheating with. He got another girl pregnant before we got married. There were so many things that he did that were cheating. And he never apologized for it. In fact, that's another red flag, another neon flag. It's not just the cheating, but it's actually not even asking questions about it, because you get to the point where you're like accepting. One time he said, if you look for something, you're going to find it. And I thought to myself, well, I need to stop looking. Not, okay, he just admitted that he's going to cheat. He even said one time, you never tell. Don't ask, don't tell. He said, there's a song that goes, it wasn't me. And he would make a joke and say, yeah, well, like that song, it wasn't me. So consistently, it was something that I had to get over without even asking the question. And it became a way of me coping by just saying, I don't see it. So another red flag is, or neon flag really, like I said, is, another neon flag is love bombing. So what they do, so that way you don't feel too crazy, or they don't seem that crazy, is they'll get you an expensive gift, like a beautiful ring, or they'll get you a car, and it will be in his name, not yours, because he pays the bills. And so you're thinking, well, it needs to be in his name, but we're married in the state of Texas, so of course it's our car because, community property. We'll talk about that later. But the actual love bomb could also be a sexual thing. Like, he's giving you really good sex, but that's the only time he really shows you any affection or any kind of compliment or any kind of love is during that time. But that love bombing will freeze as well when you're not giving them enough attention or you're not being the way they want you to be. So love bombing also can be having money and not having money. I never had access to the credit cards, and he would say, I pay the bills, so why do you need to see the bills? Well, I'd like to know what the bills are so that I could see what they are. No, you don't need to see that. I never had access to the bank account. I couldn't even go to the bank and get money. I had to ask him to put money in a separate account. And when I saw that there was like $200,000 and then my account had like $20 in it, I realized, and I found that out at the end, not during the beginning of our relationship, like $200,000 is in a bank account. I had to take a picture of it and send it to my friends and say, can you believe that this is, and they said, well, girl, go get some of that money. I said, I don't want to do that because it might upset him. And then it'll start a big fight. So those are the neon flags. Now I want to talk about the second part about narcissistic survival, and that is the rage. It is abuse, and what Dr. Romney calls it is abuse by 1,000 cuts, or death by 1,000 cuts. I'm sorry, death by 1,000 cuts. And the death by 1,000 cuts is it's an example of, if someone cuts you, let's say they give you a nick with a knife. Ooh, that hurt, but you can put a Band-Aid on it. But if it's 1,000, especially in one area, it's going to bleed pretty badly. And then you're told by the narcissist that you're like, why are you bleeding like that? I'm not doing anything. You're crazy. Like, that shouldn't hurt. You're making it into a big deal because you have a little cut. And you're like going, but you literally have cut me 1,000 times and I'm bleeding out. And so what happens with that rage is the 1,000 cuts. And people assume that you have, in fact, he would often say to me, well, it's not like, I pull guns on you, not like I beat you, like you have. But the first time he ever put his hands on me and hit me, he did it in a joking way, saying, I'm trying to show you how to throw a punch. And he punched me in my arm and left a bruise. And I'm thinking, why would he punch me in my arm like that and leave a bruise for like almost a week and a half? I had a bruise on my arm. That was 3 months after knowing him. But the rage was worse than the punch. When he gave me that punch, and it was like a shock, like, oh, it wasn't horrible. What was horrible was the screaming and hollering and rage that he would do. Yelling so close to my face, where literally he's this close to my face, hollering and screaming at me. And the things that he would scream and holler at me about were not major deals. Like, it wasn't like we had some like major thing happen. It was like I said something to him like, I'm not happy because you never apologized for X, Y, and Z. And it becomes a huge blow up. So in short, I want to talk more and more about this, but I don't want to spend more than 20 minutes. I'm already there. So we talked about two things. We talked about the neon signs of narcissistic abuse, and we talked about love bombing and rage, which are the two things I wanted to talk about. And I'm hoping that I help someone and they can write down in their plan, in their master plan, what it is that they would like to do with their life and what they're attracted to, and also how they're going to get out of a narcissistic abusive relationship if they're in one now. And we'll talk more about that on our next video. Thank you so much for watching. If I helped you in any way, please give a thumbs up, and please